Representative of Belgium.
To the representative of the Russian Federation.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Thank you for the organization of today's event devoted to the participation of women in UN peacekeeping operations. We thank UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the head of the UN Truce Supervision Organization, Ms. Kristen Lund, and also Ms. Lorna Merikaja for their views. We are convinced of the substantial positive potential of the participation of women in various aspects of the settlement of armed conflicts and peace building, including within the framework of UN peacekeeping operations. We note that since the adoption in 2000 of the first Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security, the joint efforts of the Secretariat and troop contributing countries have been supporting the steady increase in the role and number of women peacekeepers within military and police components of UN peacekeeping operations. We agree with the need to ensure equal opportunities for the participation of women in UN peacekeeping operations and the removal of structural barriers. At the same time, increasing the number of women in field missions should not be an end in itself. The process of involving women in peacekeeping activities needs to be done sensibly, based on the existing requirements of a specific field presence. Professional qualities also must be taken into account rather than artificial indicators aimed at achieving a particular ratio of women to men. In this respect, we would like to caution against the excessive use of temporary special measures in order to increase the number of women peacekeepers, because lowering the bar, for example when it comes to ranks, also discriminates against men. And what gender equality and equal opportunities could there be in such conditions? The specificities of each country presence also need to be taken into account, including the security conditions of operations. It goes without saying that women as well as men have their set of specific advantages that need to be made use of rationally. For example, women peacekeepers may be more effective in establishing contacts with the local population, chiefly women and children, because they elicit a greater sense of trust and protection. These efforts are needed when supporting the investigation of cases of sexual violence, when the victim may be more open with women peacekeepers. At the same time, it must not be forgotten that peacekeeping is also a military matter and brings with it certain risks, in particular when it comes to undertaking certain tasks requiring the use of physical strength. In order to involve women more in peacekeeping, it is important to create enabling conditions for them, taking into account their specific requirements. As we know, often women are forced at a particular point to leave work in peacekeeping in favor of family concerns and caring for children and relatives. As a rule, this is because women aren't able to combine their work and their family lives on the ground, and also this is due to the unsafe environment. These factors need to be taken into account in the Secretariat's future implementation of its gender policy. Also, the principle of fair geographical representation must be complied with during the appointment of women, in particular to leadership positions in peacekeeping operations. Moreover, it is important to recall that the primary responsibility for increasing the number of women in the military components of peacekeeping forces lies with states themselves. And so here again it is important to take into account the opinions of TCCs themselves, to take consideration of the national approaches of each country to staffing. Possible natural problems with achieving a particular indicator or indicators should not be a criteria for decision-making about the deployment of a particular contingent. Madam President, the Russian Federation for more than 45 years now has been providing peacekeepers for UN peacekeeping operations. Currently, the share of women is no lower than 17%. Currently, our women peacekeepers are working in UN missions in Congo, Kosovo, South Sudan, Western Sahara, and also Cyprus. And we are pleased that they are highly rated for their service in the different UN peacekeeping operations. We also have rich experience when it comes to the training of peacekeepers, in particular women, in UN-certified study centers, in particular the All-Russian Peacekeeper Training Center of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation in Domodedovo. This Centre continues each year to train foreign law enforcement officers with the broad participation of women, and we shall continue to provide all necessary assistance to building the capacity of UN peacekeeping. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation and